Good evening. This is the December 11th meeting of the Legislative Affairs Committee. The members of this committee are Councilor Keefe, Councilor Morabito, Councilor Patch, and Councilor Powers. We also have in attendance tonight Councilor Giannino, Councilor Guanasso, Councilor McKenna, and Councilor Powers. Oh, Councilor Powers is a member? No, you're not a member. Yeah, you are. Okay. I don't know who my members are. Okay. Madam Clerk?
First item on the agenda, Council Order 17-364, an ordinance prohibiting non-medical marijuana establishments.
Okay, so Councilor Keefe, would you like to begin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the time to speak on this matter. We've been discussing it now since sometime in July, and I know that at first it was coming on fast and furious, but over the time, the council and the city have really looked into this matter, and I think that we've all gotten the proper direction from our local legislature, from our own internal solicitor, and I think we feel that we're in very solid standing to prohibit the sale of recreational marijuana within the city of Revere. It's something that we seem to all be very much in favor of, but wanted to make sure that we had all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted. I feel very confident this time that we can continue to move forward, and I hope that the council would agree and we can get this moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I already spoke on this matter. I'm going to vote in favor of it out tonight, and should be no problem with that. Thank you.
Councilor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know there are many out there that would disagree with me. I say it's a gateway drug. To allow it in our neighborhoods, in our streets, in our stores in this community would be sending the worst message possible to the youth of this city. And in making it available like that would be, I think, insanity on the part of the city council. So I definitely, no question about it, will be voting tonight.
Councilor Guanasso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, the good citizens of Revere voted against this. It's a wish of them that we deny this particular use within our community, so I think we should honor their wish. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor McKenna? Nothing? Okay. Councilor Giannino? Councilor Patch?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to just bring to the audience attention there that we had Sudi, who's doing great work with the opiate problem in Revere, and I kind of agree with them, and was convinced that it's not a gateway drug, and that's why they were kind of not for this, but. Talking to people who have that problem, I am convinced that it really isn't a gateway drug. But as Councilor Guanasso said, the people of Revere did vote for it, and I actually voted for it until I heard their statements that they made, and on further conversation with those people that I'm convinced that it might have some good for that purpose. So I will be voting in favor of it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Patch. I think I made my opinion pretty clear. I not only voted against recreational marijuana, I worked, campaigned across the state, tried to help some of the governor and others who were against it, and unfortunately it passed. However, Revere did vote against it, I'm happy to say. And that allows us to do what we'll end up doing here tonight. I do want to make a little note for those of the people at home that might not understand. We do have a medical marijuana licensed facility here, and that comes with some special privileges. So though we might be banning any future recreational marijuana facilities, we are bound by following laws here in this city and laws of the state. And so some of the dictates of that change that scenario. Anyways, we'll take a vote of the committee.
Counselor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Morabito is absent. Counselor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. And Chairman Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes, there'll be a favorable recommendation of the full city council. Calendar item number 2, Council Order 17-389, an ordinance amending the shade tree ordinances of the city of Revere.
Any councilors? Councilor Keefe?
No comment. I think we got good information from the community development in the last few meetings, and I feel confident that we should be willing to pass this tonight as well.
Any other members? No. Okay, so I think I'll take a vote of the committee. Julie, would you like to speak on this tree ordinance? We just want you up here. We just want to say hello.
Julie DeMauro, Healthy Community Initiatives Office. This would be great if this gets passed tonight. If it does, we're going to submit the application first thing tomorrow morning. This is the final leg of the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll take a vote.
Roll call of the committee members. Counselor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Morabito is absent. Counselor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. And Chairman Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes, the ordinance will be forwarded to the full city council with a favorable recommendation.
I believe there's no further business for the Legislative Affairs Committee. Thank you all for coming.
Good evening. Good evening. Call to order the Revere City Council meeting of Monday, December 11th, 2017. We'll all stand and salute the flag.
Roll call of the members. Counselor Janino? Here. Here. Counselor Guanasso?
Here.
Here. Counselor McKenna?
Here.
Here. Counselor Morabito is absent. Counselor Novoselsky?
Here.
Here. Counselor Patch?
Here.
Here. Counselor Powers? Here. Counselor Rotundo is absent. Counselor Zambuto?
Here.
Here. And Council Vice President Keith?
Here.
Here. Quorum is present. Approval of the Journal of the Meeting of December 4th, 2017.
So move.
Calendar item number 3, this is a, actually, I'll get kids out of here. Calendar item number 4, motion presented by Councilor Guanasso that the City Council award certificates of appreciation to the Pop Warner Squad B football team for winning the Greater Boston League Division Championship, the Eastern Massachusetts Championship, and runners-up at the New England Super Bowl Championship.
Squad B.
So we're going to have Councilor Guanasso is going to introduce some of the members here and present their certification. Councilor Guanasso.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Over the past fall, I've had the pleasure of keeping up with the Squad B's great effort to become champions of this state and this Commonwealth. And so it was a little bit heartbreaking to see them lose their final game. But the recognition that each member of this Squad B team presented to each and every one of us as citizens of this community is nothing but pride. They were dedicated to the effort of winning. They were a team that came together for one common goal, and that was to win. They listened to their coaches, and they did what they were told. Every player to the person deserves all this recognition because they really are true champions. I watch and listen to, on a daily basis when I was out there campaigning, quite a few of the players would come by, and I got to know them. And to say the least, these are fine young men that represent our community. They all have great personalities. They know how to win, and I just love talking with them. I'm thankful that the campaign is over because actually it's too cold to be out there. But these kids made it so nice and enjoyable when they came by to offer their hellos and hi and Hawaii. They didn't know me from Adam. They just knew that I was AJ's somewhat uncle or something, you know, so they figured that they knew me. But anyway, it was a great honor and a real privilege to know each and every one of them. And now this recognition is the least we can do to show our community that this is what we have representing us in the future. And in this group, one day, might be my replacement. You never know. So, gentlemen, you did a great, great job. And obviously, the coaches and the parents had a lot to do with it. But the coaches dedicated to the person. They were really they just gave of themselves so easily. And what it shows is these kids enjoyed it, and that's the most important thing, getting our kids involved in some sort of activity to get them off the streets, let them enjoy one another, and be good friends and show them that there are good, clean-cut things out there to do and have fun doing it. So again, I'd like to offer out this certificate of appreciation that offers out by myself, the City Council, but all the people of Revere also offer this to you. Great job. Go. I will read one, instead of reading them all, because they all say the same thing, and in that I will insert the name. Revere Certificate of Appreciation in acknowledgement of your dedication to youth sports by leading Revere Pop Warner and Squad B to a 2017 Greater Boston League Division Championship, a 2000 Eastern Massachusetts Championship, and run-up finish at the 2017 New England Super Bowl Championship. Special recognition is hereby accorded to
Coach Wayne Rose.
Wayne Rose, assistant coach. This certificate of appreciation is presented by the City Council of the City of Revere, Massachusetts, on behalf of its citizens. This is the 11th day of November in the year of our Lord 2017, and of the independence of the United States of America, 241st. Signed by Ashley E. Melnick, City Clerk. Also signed by Patrick M. Keefe, City Council Vice President, and offered by Councilor Guanasso. Wayne? And here's an Italian name that I know how to pronounce. Bill Guanasso. Here you go. Now we come to the Miguel Colon, who's real Cologne. Ah, see, good job.
Okay, try this one. Do you want me to help you?
I can do this.
Congratulations.
Next is Augusto Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Augusto, where are you?
Hey, Ricardo.
Brandon Salemi. Hey, Brandon. Sammy, high five.
Haley.
Hey, Haley. Sorry, where are you? Yep. Christian Martinez. Christian, not here? Noel Theodore. Noel? Daniel Orego. Orego. Anwar. Anwar.
Marbo.
Mabo. Anwar Mabo. Yo. There we go, Anwar. Max Doucette. Where are you, Max? Hey, Max, you don't like pizza? No. Okay. We'll get you chicken wings next time. Mark Marchese. Mark, congratulations, Mark. Ricardo Gonzalez. Ricardo. Guys are all bigger than me. Jordan Rodriguez. Hey, Jordan. Nicholas Coughlin. Nicholas. Hello, Nick. Carlos Rizzo.
Carlo Rizzo.
Carlos. Juan Arave. Juan, good job. Orlando Giacino. Not here. Jefferson Maya. What did I say? Now, head coach, Reggie Green.
Billy Gineppa.
William Byrne Gineppa. Another tough name, Andrew Guanasso. AJ. Keith Jones. Alexander Lopez Acuna. Hey, good job. Guess what? Orlando, you don't think I'll forget you, do you? Where are you, my man? Every day, Orlando would say, every day. Big hug. Every day I see Orlando, far to Lincoln School.
Adam Aguaz.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your 2017 champions.
In the middle.
Hey, fellas, gentlemen, we have one more. We have two more pieces of recognition. One coming up right now. So you folks might want to sit tight on this next one. But if I can also just mention a word about the Revere Junior Patriots B Squad this year. I was also I'm part of the organization as the president, and a lot of things that people don't realize about these kids is they start August 1st, working out in the 95, 100-degree heat for a whole full month, 5 weeks before they play one game. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. To have them play into December, it's a tremendous accomplishment. And to have them play so well for that long, it's an even more a greater accomplishment. So I'm very proud of what the boys did this year, and I hope that they take that on and the learnings that they got as being disciplined men and women on the field and take that into other parts of their life. So congratulations again. Thank you.
So calendar item number 3, that the City Council will present Wayne Rose with a certificate of appreciation for starting Safe Saturdays for our youth.
Councilor Rotundo, who presented this motion, is not here today, so I'll do the honor of presenting this to Wayne. But as you saw, he was just up here as a coach for the Revere Pop Warner B Squad, and he's also being recognized by the council for his as a certificate of appreciation for the work he's doing in the community in helping to promote Safe Saturdays, which, if anyone doesn't know, is a program that's he's helping to run with private donations out of the Lincoln School on Saturday evenings to keep kids off the streets and to work and just do different things, whether it's dodgeball or stick hockey or basketball or just hanging out in a safe area on a Saturday night rather than hanging out on the street and doing God knows what, and probably things that we don't want the kids doing. So I applaud him for that, and I'll read this certificate of appreciation and hand it to Wayne. In acknowledgement for your dedication to the youth of the city of Revere by founding the youth program Safe Saturdays, special recognition is hereby accorded to Wayne Rose. Wayne has elected not to take this time to make a speech. But thank you.
Calendar item number 5, that the City Council award a certificate of merit to Officer Mike Travato for saving the life of a young man who overdosed early Saturday morning, November 25th, 2017.
Councilor Guanasso?
I got a visit from a very good friend of mine named Alan, who told me of a situation that was very, very upsetting and concerning to me. He told me of a situation whereas he had to administer Narcan to his grandson. And he said his efforts weren't working. And by the good faith of God, they called 911 and they received Officer Mike Travato to come to the aid. Officer Travato had to administer Narcan not once, but twice to try to revive this young man. Very, very pleased to say that the young man is alive and well and doing well. And he's done well based on the fact that there's two very caring people took the time and effort to learn how to use Narcan to save his life. Now, I'm going to let Officer Travato tell you more about it, and I'll also ask Alan to say a few words. He's the grandfather of this young boy. And to me, him having the knowledge and the know-how, how to administer and have Narcan on his possession, having a little bit of knowledge of previously that his grandson might be a user, he said, just, God forbid, in case I do need it, I want to train in it, and I want to get it in case I have to use it. And so be it, it happened. So the rest is history, and I offer it out to Officer Travato and Alan to share their experience with you before, after, and after that I will read the Merit Certificate of Appreciation from the City Council and the citizens of Revere. Officer Travato?
Thank you, sir. I'm being recognized today largely through the insistence of Alan Peckner, but I just have to bring to light that it's Mr. Peckner's clear head and quick thinking that administered the first dose of Narcan and then alerted the emergency response system to get me there in the first place so I could give whatever help I was capable of giving. So as much credit belongs to him for his grandson's well-being as belongs to me. I'd also like to acknowledge Officer Anthony Dell'Iocono, who assisted me that day, and without him, my job would have been a lot tougher.
Alan?
A day I'll never forget is November 25th. I got a call at 2 o'clock in the morning. My grandson was out in his car. He was passed out in the car. I went out to the car. He had no pulse. He was ice cold. I gave him some Narcan, couldn't revive him. He started coming to a little bit. Then we called 911. About 30 seconds later, there's a cruiser coming out up the street. Mike Travato jumps out of his cruiser. It was like an angel from heaven. I could not believe it. He pulled my grandson out of the car, administered Narcan, started giving him CPR. He started coming to. Right? When I first saw my grandson, I knew he was dead and that he would probably not come back to life. Right? We brought him back to life. He was out in the ambulance for probably 20 minutes to a half an hour. The ambulance couldn't leave, and I kept on saying, just drive him to the hospital. They kept on telling me, if we drive him to the hospital, he may not make it. Right? Finally, I don't know how long it was, we get him to the hospital. Right? He was in the emergency ward for probably about an hour. The doctor comes out, and we didn't think he was going to make it in the hospital. Doctor comes out again and told me that if, it was on the scene that actually saved his life, the Narcan and the CPR by the police officer that gave it to him. I cannot thank Mike Travato enough. Again, thank you, Mike.
That's another reason why we all have to fight this addiction. We had a council meeting last week whereas the people from Revere Street that operate SUDI, and they came forward to tell us some of the information and how the office works somewhat. We have an epidemic out there, and unfortunately, it's not bad people that are users. It's good people that are users. They just fall victims to the wrong thing. And so our concerted effort starts right at home. And so each and every one of us can be mindful of the fact that learn from this experience, and I'm so grateful for Alan to come forward with to give this and offer this out to you. So there is hope. There is hope for people once they become addicted, that maybe through the efforts of their family and friends and the system, maybe we can help them. You know, we have to do something. We just can't say it's his problem, it's her problem, this kid was not good when he was growing up, this girl wasn't doing. That's not the kind of conversation that has to take place in society today. We have to all rise above the occasion, and we all have to put our hands in effort to help to beat this problem. And I think we're doing a great thing, and we have conjunction here with a citizen and a police officer working to save a life. What better thing than that? It's a great thing. So I offer this out, the Revere, City of Revere Certificate of Merit, in acknowledgement of extraordinary, distinguished, and meritorious contributions and commitment. Special recognition is hereby accorded to Officer Michael Travato, Revere Police Department. Your exemplary efforts to save the life of an individual who had overdosed during the early morning hours of November 25th, 2017, will forever be remembered by this individual. Your service to the community is unwavering and greatly appreciated. In witness thereof, this certificate of merit is gratefully bestowed upon by the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Revere, Massachusetts, on behalf of its citizens. This 11th day of December in the year of our Lord, 2017, and the independence of the United States of America, the 241st, offered by a vote of the Revere City Council. Signed by Ashley E. Melnick, City Clerk, Patrick M. Keefe, City Council Vice President, offered out by Councilor Arthur Guanasso. Congratulations.
Thank you again. Thank you, Patrick. Good work.
Good job, Mike. Good job.
Oh, thanks again. Oh, thanks again.
Calendar item number 6 is the Legislative Affairs Committee report.
Councilor Zambuto?
Thank you, Mr. President. Obviously, the Legislative Affairs Committee met this evening. We had 2 items on the agenda. One was an ordinance prohibiting non-medical marijuana establishments. That was voted out favorably by the committee. We'll be looking for a vote on that tonight. We also had an ordinance amending the shade tree ordinances in the city of Revere. That was also voted out favorably, and we'll be looking for a vote on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Any other councils wishing to speak? Hearing and seeing none. Madam Clerk?
Which item did you want to, which ordinance would you like to take up first?
17389, please.
Okay.
Ordered on a second reading. Ordered on a third and final reading. On engrossment and ordainment. Roll call, please.
Shall the City Council approve an ordinance amending the shade tree ordinances of the City of Revere? Counselor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Morabito is absent. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Rotundo is absent. Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Counselor Vice President Keefe?
Yes.
Yes, the ordinance is engrossed and ordained.
17-364. Ordered on a second reading. Ordered on a third and final reading. On engrossment and ordainment. Roll call, please.
Shall the City Council approve an ordinance prohibiting non-medical marijuana establishments within the City of Revere? Counselor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Guanasso?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Morabito is absent. Counselor Novoselsky? Yes. Counselor Patch?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Rotundo is absent. Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Counselor Vice President Keefe?
Yes.
Yes, the ordinance is engrossed and ordained.
Madam Clerk, on the point of personal privilege, I just wanted to mention Counselor Rotundo was unable to be here tonight. He fell ill, and Counselor Morabito had a previously scheduled trip that was scheduled before the council meeting, so he's missed only due to the fact that he was able to plan something before I did. And I also wanted to point out and mention that newly appointed representative on the Disabilities Commission, Robert Bent, is in attendance tonight.
And calendar item number 8, communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of NCCL Enterprises, 27 Water Street, Wakefield, Mass. as a licensed drain layer.
Mr. Vice President,
Mr. Guanasso.
Mr. Vice President, to receive communication from the city clerk in reference to NCCL Enterprises. Is there anyone there from NCCL? Okay, no one here in attendance. I ask this is for a special request that this be offered out prior to and coming before the appointment subcommittee. If there's any objections, absolutely we can hold this over. But at this time, I offer this out that we vote favorably on it this evening.
Any other councilors wish to speak? Motion to approve?
Calendar item number 9, motion presented by Councilor McKenna that the mayor arrange to have an air quality test performed at City Hall.
Councilor McKenna.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So I put this motion in because my concerns are that a lot of people in City Hall that work here, they all have coughs. And I believe that this is a sick building. I know it's not the mayor's fault that this was inherited, all these problems were inherited when he came into office, but we do need a fix now. The air quality was tested 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago after the tornado, but the air quality has not been tested since. I don't even know when the air vents have been cleaned in everybody's office. So when it rains, it leaks in the roof, as we can all see in the Chamber's office. We have plaster that falls down on Councilor Janino every council meeting. Leaks are in the chambers, in the auditorium. So we really do need to have the air quality tested, and so we can have safe. So that's my motion.
Thank you, Councilor McKenna. Councilor Guanasso.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I said this before publicly, but I'll say it again for it's worth repeating. There's no question in my mind that there's something airborne within this city hall, especially downstairs in the water area in that first level. My son contacted Legionella disease, which is a form of Legionnaire's disease, which is a deadly disease. And the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is now going to inquire more of this building. As recently as Friday evening, my son was contacted by the Commonwealth of Mass in reference again to this building, to which I think in the very near future they're going to do something about it, but I'm not sure. This motion obviously is very helpful in that endeavor, But there's also an individual who works alongside of my son down there, who's been sick for months, who lost drastic amount of weight. He's just not the type of individual who'll bring it to the limelight. He'll bring it forth. In fact, he's probably going to get mad that I'm even saying this. But something has got to be done there. This young man is very, very sick. He's experiencing months and months of going through this. And it's definitely something that's airborne now. A few of the other people are experiencing great illnesses, and they attribute it to every other different thing. I attribute it to the contamination that lives within this building. I honestly believe there's no question in the world that mass water went through the walls after the tornado. I mean, this building has been experiencing this type of atmosphere for years. This is a buildup of mold. This is a buildup of something that's contaminant in this building. And what it does is it doesn't work the same thing on everybody, because everybody's body is different in terms of fighting off these types of illnesses. Some people have a very high immune to this type of thing, and some people are very low. So the air quality in this building has got to be controlled. It's got to be monitored. It's got to be, just to prevent anybody from experiencing any of these illnesses. Now, my son had an illness prior to that. I'm not blaming anything on that. But his immune system was already at a low. So he would be the first target to receive this airborne, whatever it is. I'm not a doctor. I don't profess to be one. But I know one thing. When I see sickly people around, and it's all from the same type of thing, diarrhea, vomiting, all the time, loss of weight, tremendous. I mean, these are signals that something's going on here. So it's mindful, and I'm very thankful for Councilor McKenna for bringing this to the forefront. I know last Monday night, several of us went out to eat, and it was on the minds of other people too, about what's going on at City Hall. Why are people getting sick? I didn't instigate anything. I didn't bring up the conversation. I just happened to walk over, and that's what the conversation was taking place. So we have to, as watchdogs for the community, we also have to take care of the safeguard the health of our workers at City Hall. And so if there is something wrong going on here in terms of the health issues, we've got to address that. And the mayor has been more than cooperative during my son's process. He's very, very willing to listen to anything and do anything that has to be done. He inherited this building. He didn't create this problem. So, and it's long before the recent administrations. I'm talking 2, 3, 4. This contamination's been here for a while. It's just we don't get it because we're here on a very temporary basis. But those folks that stay here 8 hours or plus a day, they're the ones that are going to get it. And when their immune system's down, they're going to experience some nasty illnesses and could be life-threatening, such as Legionnaire's disease and Legionella, which is very, very deadly. It's, so I compliment Councilor McKenna for bringing this to the forefront, and I ask that we get these tests done as soon as possible for the safety of all the workers at City Hall. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Powers?
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I think this is an excellent motion. I think it's long overdue. I think the time for patience and delay has come and gone. It's time for this administration to act on this and to act boldly and get it done. I think to do less is inviting shame. We have so many people that pass through this building every day. Not only the people that work here, but I'll call them the taxpayers and the customers and the citizens of this city that come up here for various situations. And I'm not casting blame on the current mayor or the mayor prior to him. It's something that happened. I know there was a question with waiting for insurance settlements, et cetera, and I think what has to happen is January 1, someone has to come into this building, do whatever testing is required, And if necessary, I know the mayor is submitted a capital improvement project. If this needs to be added to it, let's do it. Let's not sit here and subject the citizens and the workers in this building to ill health and subject the citizens of the city to possible litigation down the road because this city council and this administration, a prior administration, failed to act on this. So I think it's very important that we move in that direction. And once again, I want to commend Councilor McKenna for bringing this to our attention. All one has to do is walk through the old auditorium and back and look at the ceiling, and they'll understand what's going on in this building. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's a great motion. I'd like to make sure that, you know, we're talking air quality. I think we need every test that's available, mold, any kind of test that can be done, because I think it's long before the tornado. This building has had problems for many years. And it's you know, it's like our infrastructure in the city. It's deteriorated, and it's left unchecked. And so there's some serious problems here, and we need to test for mold and asbestos and every other kind of thing that any kind of spores that can be going through the air here. And there's hundreds of them. So it's not just a simple test. It's got to be a serious endeavor, and it needs to be done right away. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors? Motion to approve?
Calendar item number 10, motion presented by Councilor Keefe that the mayor's office and/or inspectional services distribute information on pest control ordinances and city bylaws to help in combating current rodent and pest issues throughout the city.
Any councilors? Someone from the audience?
Yes, sir. Eric Lampadecchio, 43 Tapley Avenue. I think this is a great motion. I commend you, Councilor Keefe, for putting it forward. I just have a question, if you could just enlighten myself and those at home. What does the city currently offer in terms of pest control? I've heard that we've offered one free trap per household. Could you elaborate on that?
I'm not quite sure of the traps. I know that the city, upon request, if there's an issue in the neighborhood or an issue with a property, they will come and do a baiting one time. And that's typically what they'll do. Recently, the council and the mayor increased the amount of funds that go towards the baiting from $60,000 a year to $180,000 a year to help with the rodent issue. But as we both know, that it doesn't seem to be going away anytime quickly. And much like, I'm sure like yourself and my fellow councilors, throughout the campaign season, it was something that certainly was brought to our attention many, many times. And actually, one of the residents, a neighbor of mine, had suggested this to me, to where they could, where we could send more information out to new neighbors on the streets, so that they know how to help control the rodent issue and what steps they could take, but also what the city bylaws were. One being the trash ordinance that, you know, as we all know, you're either supposed to have the mint bags or a covered trash barrel, which either one isn't always followed, or two, sometimes it's tough to really control. But I think that this information being sent out will give more of the new residents and people that maybe just aren't as paying as close attention to the issues, give them some better information on how to take care of their property a little bit better.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Mr. President, point of information.
Councilor Powers.
There are several things that are happening. First of all, if we find out there's a strong infestation in a neighborhood, they will get A1 in here, and they'll do everything they can to address that. They do offer a trap if someone comes up to the city hall, but I think the main thing here is to have the inspectors, and I know they do this, but maybe we need more help there, to go into these neighborhoods, make sure that the trash barrels are covered as they should be, make sure that people are not just throwing stuff into trash bags and leaving it on the side of the house. And I would monitor, too, a lot of the homes where there are absentee landlords. The 3, 4, 6-family homes. And I've seen this throughout the city in many areas, and if we start hitting them in their pocketbook, maybe they'll get the message and provide the adequate barrels and the adequate rodent-free trash bags and things like that to make sure that we're doing something to abate that situation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Powers and Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a point that we just passed an ordinance as far as the bird feeding. And I actually did get a call from a resident in Ward 6 that has this, heard us discussing that we passed this ordinance, and that she wanted to know what the status was, because she has a similar problem in her neighborhood with the pigeons, feeding the pigeons. So I had the Madam Clerk, she didn't want the person to be punished without, we did settle on notifying the residents before we started punishing the people and fining them. So Madam Clerk sent an email to the Inspection Services, the Mayor's office, that we put out that notification, and so that the Inspection Services can start enforcing the ordinance. Thank you. And by the way, that's a great motion you put in there.
Thank you, Councilor Patch. I mean, your new ordinance that was put forth this is precisely why I think that we need to send out more communications in many different forms. It doesn't, maybe it's from time to time when we send out a tax bill, we can also include a pamphlet in there on updated ordinances throughout the city, or maybe there's public service announcements on the television and or in the local newspapers. But your bird feeding or feeding the wildlife ordinance that we just put through, most new residents or most residents that don't pay close attention aren't going to know that unless we somehow educate them. So this is just to help let the public know how to help take care of their neighborhood, because we do have an issue and it needs to continue to be addressed in order for it to get any better. Anyone else? Oh, Councilor Guanasso.
Just so happens, prior to coming to the council meeting this evening, I watched the 4 o'clock news on Channel 7, and they have a situation occurring down in Falmouth where this lady has been accused of feeding some sort of, she said she feeds squirrels, but in fact, they showed, and the neighbors showed, the rodents going there. It was like unbelievable. And now, if they had something in place like the laws we just enacted, the police would have something to work on. But obviously down in Falmouth, they don't have that, because people, weren't doing these type of things before. Either that or it wasn't attracting rodents. But you should have seen the film that I saw. It was scary. The rats just going to this location where the lady was feeding them. And she said that she wasn't doing it, but they have evidence that she was. And obviously there's a whole colony of them going there, and it was frightening. So again, Revere is to the forefront in protecting its residents and coming forward with nice ordinances that protect the neighborhoods. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors? Motion to approve? And that wraps up our meeting. Everyone have a great night. Next meeting will be December 18th, 2017. Thank you.